Changi Compagneto Sho. So let's do the 4 limitless contemplations. May all beings have happiness and create the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and creating the causes of suffering. May they find that noble happiness which can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies. Sem jendam je dewatang dewe jutang den baju jig, dungal tang dungal chichutang trawaju jig, dungal me dewa tampatang minrawaju jig, nearing jaktang nitan trape tanum jembola ne baju jig. So you come and sit here, Eve, so you can see Lama. Otherwise you can't see him. Good morning, everybody. Please, if you can, switch your cameras on so Lama YESHE can see you all. It's really such a pleasure to welcome you, Lama YESHE Rinpoche, to these beautiful Sangha that we have every Monday morning. And it's really a joy to have everybody here. And what we'd really like you to do, everybody asks me about the temple and your building and about the Labram in Cape Town, and I can't answer anything. I just say it's really for the beautiful work of your brother, and it's really what you want to do for the whole country. So we would all really love to know about what you've done with the temple, why you've invested so much into the temple, and also the Labram. We'd like to know the building of the Labram in Cape Town. Everybody wants to know. And how to help our land. I mean, South Africa is a big mess, as you know, but a very beautiful country. And maybe some of what you're doing is really to help the whole country and what we need to do. So over to you. Annie Lama, please unmute him because I'm muted because the sound was no good. So just unmute him, please.
Good morning, everybody, whichever part of the world you are. Akun Lavrang is built there to take care of environment. That both my brother and his holiness Kamapa said more essential, more important. So that will be dedicated taking care of environment. But good news is I have Annie Lochu. She is a black nun, and I sent there to Theta to study so that she can propagate true Dharma. So she is going to come here next year, and she will be staying here, and then she will look after this center in here, as well as Cape Town and Zimbabwe. So I am 100% sure she will bring a lot more students because she is going to be staying here more or less permanently, so long as she can manage stay here in this country, hoping for the best. And it looks like you have your own shrine room set up there properly.
If this nun is coming here, that is so amazing because we really will have somebody who's here, who's ordained and ready to teach and has all the intelligence and the studies behind her. So it's really very exciting, I think, really exciting. Oh, good. So just if you don't mind, Lama YESHE Rinpoche, it would be really nice if you could just repeat that last part because we couldn't catch you. The sound was so bad.
As I say, this Lama Lochu, I met her nun how many years ago?
I think it was 2017. She became my life nun.
2017, she became a life nun. And I said, you can really be in charge of a temple, but you have to study hard, and you are good in learning things. So he went there, Zeta, Nepal with Kibu Labu, and he studied all this many years. So next year we'll be have finishing there. So I already told her she will have to come here to teach South Africa and Zimbabwe and Cape Town, any place where she needed. So that's what's happening.
No, that's absolutely amazing, because that's what we really need, and also to see what the future of Randburg, of the future of the Randburg Center is, and maybe if she can divide her time, then it'll really work very, very well, I think.
Oh, she can go there with no problem. If she's here full time, then visiting all these places, no problem.
I think that'll be amazing, because I think in South Africa, there is really a very, if you look at all these people here, they're not all in South Africa. They're people from all over. There's some from Cape Town. There's some from Scotland. There's some from all over the place, and all over from the UK. We've got all the different people, and from Australia. But I think that there's a very, very big Dharma community in South Africa, and I think that with the right teachers, it could be absolutely amazing, really. And I would be very happy to help her if I'm around. I don't know.
Yeah, because I have no doubt South Africa needs such a person, because there is a lack of compassion and also tolerance. And I think if everybody learned to engage, helping each other, would be wonderful. So that's why I said she must come here.
That is such fantastic news. Now, just tell us, can any of us maybe go and do a retreat at the Labram, maybe if we wanted to, or things like that? I mean, is the Labram, I know it's the purpose to register your brother and for the climate that you're talking about, but tell us a little bit more. Are people going to be there? Is it for people? Can you do retreats there? How is it?
Yes, because the menu in Cape Town, I said she should use Lavrang as a retreat place, because it's a very beautiful location and there's no other disturbance or interference. So she will lead Lavrang as a retreat place.
And I think Sammy's on Cape Town can organize for people.
Yes, I mean, John Cape Town will organize this. And as well as I think this year end of donors finishing teaching in
TRC.
CC, he's going to go there to lead a retreat there.
So people can go along if they want.
No, because I'm thinking of going and doing a retreat there now in the holidays at the Labram, because I think it's such a beautiful environment. But is it going to really, does Akon Rinpoche want the environment to be helped with that Labram? I mean, is that the main purpose as well?
Yes, because everything Lavrang has to engage is protect the environment. So Lavrang in front of Lavrang, there is a quite size lake or pond. So it's a very beautiful location. And then there is a, what is called name of that deers? There is about 21 old animals there. Comes every morning, go to the lake and eat grass and they come back to us. There is, and also there's a baboons who comes there and they jump everywhere. So when I stayed there 1 month, they stop coming there, go on hilltop, jumping from rock to rock. But they said the minute I left, they came down near to the house. Yes, staying there, but they don't mess it up anymore.
That's amazing. So David and Nicola, you could definitely go to the Labram. Instead of you going overseas, David lives in the Cape. You could go there, David, for retreat. It's beautiful.
Yes, anybody
Is
can
there
go there.
anybody to supervise? Is there anybody to help you if you do your own retreat? Not for me, but for other people. Can they get help there for their retreats?
I don't know, but there is a facility cooking, and every room has its own shower toilet.
Fantastic. Oh, that's wonderful. So, Lama Yeshe Rinpoche, while we've got you, so now we're coming to the end of a year, okay?
Mm.
Maybe just a little bit of advice. I've been teaching a lot about the nature of mind and how in your daily life you really have to keep remembering and touching that nature of mind. And, you know, that's what I love from Tulku Urgent Rinpoche and Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, that they say, because we're in the West, we have to do things all the time that relate to that nature of mind and looking at that in an amazing way so that we could bring it into our daily lives. So maybe a tiny bit of advice on that for us.
Yeah, I think that many practice you can do. You can do sadhana practice, you can do practice of all type, but most essential is learning to look at the nature of mind. So many people think, look, there's something to look. There isn't anything to look, but you have to just watch what is happening there. And I think a lot of people think meditation means stop denying all these thoughts coming. There is no way you can do that. So you have to welcome it. And then you can gradually use to this idea of being into nature of mind. So we say there is nothing like a mind where it has quality of examining itself. No other thinking do that.
Well, you all have to do that for the holiday period because it's really important. Because if you don't bring that into your daily lives, then it's useless. It's just never going to go anywhere. If you come in, do a little practice, and then buzz out and get into the world and never use it in the world. And I think both Dzongsa and James Lowe and Tulku Urgent Rinpoche, they keep on saying, you know, like, I find it quite scary that we're not seeing a lot of young people coming up in the Dharma. When I looked at Donald's retreat, a picture that Cameron sent me, I saw that they were all like older people. And I thought, where are the young people? Why are there no young people in the Dharma? Maybe it's too cultural. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know why it's older people that are attracted to the Dharma in South Africa. I don't know about, I can't talk about anywhere else, but I kind of feel the young people are not coming enough, Lama Yeshe Rinpoche.
Yeah, so that's why Anilochi will be able to bring newcomers because she will be able to communicate since color is black, so many young people come, like Zimbabwe, Tara Ropakos has about 40, 50 black people joining there. Just like this, you can get a lot of people coming there.
No, that's amazing. Well, I think this is wonderful news that you're telling us, because that's what I've been nagging you year in and year out. And I nagged Taisitu Rinpoche, I nagged all of them. I said, we need to have some ordained Sangha here of people that are knowledgeable, that can really draw people in. I'm getting too old now. But, you know, everybody there must be that Sangha all over South Africa to really draw people in and be able to bring the Dharma.
Yeah, this time the temple opened, the Lama Zangpo is coming, Lama Zangmu is coming. Lama Zangpo, after that, I'll send him to Rainbow for a few days to teach there. And then he has a family in Joburg as well as mother in some way. He will come here a yearly basis. And also someday his mother is in Zimbabwe, so he will come back there regular basis. Then next year there's Lama Rinchen coming, Lama Tondu coming. So now teacher is flooding here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. And the fact all
My
of you,
pleasure.
YESHE is really here in South Africa, you can draw that energy, amazing energy from him. And that's why we're so lucky to have him. But I've told them a lot of time, going into the temple at Kensington, I never believed my eyes. But when I went in, there was the most, let's say, otherworld atmosphere. When you walk in there quietly and you see the tiles at the top and everything, for me, it's like time stands still. There's something there that none of us can understand, because we all thought, why are you building it in Kensington? It's not a good area. But when you go into that temple, you actually begin to understand that the vision is for the future, not for now. The vision is, something that is there that is really otherworldly. That's what I found when I was in the temple. Annie Lama and I were both saying, there's something here that is, and when I went in with George the first time, even before you put the towel, he looked at me and he said to me, what do you feel? And I said, I feel like I'm not in this dimension. I feel like I'm not in this time dimension. So we want some of your secrets about that. And when is Ekon Rinpoche coming? Are we going to see him soon? Come on, we know you know Lama Yeshe Rinpoche. Share a secret or two with us.
Yeah, I know that he will be recognized, but I don't think it's going to be announced very easily.
Oh, really? He's going to keep in the background, you think?
Some time till he get fully educated.
So that's his whole idea, to get educated before he comes in, before people swallow him up.
Yes, yes, yes.
So do you visit him in your sleep state? I know I'm cheeky asking these questions, but come on, share a little with us. Give us one or two things so we've got an idea of this amazing brother of yours, because we do the prayers all the time.
No, I'm not good to this in this, but
You,
no, 3 times I come up with intolerance of this, he will be recognized.
he will be recognized. Okay, well, Lama Yeshe Rinpoche, thanks a million. Do you want to tell them anything else? And then we'll just go on doing a bit of teaching.
Yes, thank you very much.
Does anyone want to ask something quick before we've got him? Do you, Bern? No.
I'm very happy to answer anybody want to
Go
ask.
on.
Yeshe, it's just so wonderful having you, seeing you, hearing you, having you here.
Thank
We're
you.
in Australia. There's quite a number of us. There's about 6 of us sitting here today out of this group. And I'm pleased that they've all made it. But it's wonderful seeing you. You're looking exceptionally well.
Thank you very much.
Well, if you saw the luxury he's living in at the top of this temple with these apartments and these beautiful place, a kitchen bigger than I've ever had a kitchen, beautiful kitchen, beautiful building, beautiful apartments that are really of the highest quality. So they're living there, Lord and Lady of the Manor, and I think I might come and live in one of those apartments there. But it's absolutely beautiful. And that's why look how Lama Yeshe is looking. And it's right on the top of the hill. So you feel the wind blowing and you see the whole of Johannesburg. It's actually really better than I could have ever expected, But
Yes, we never even have a dream of having such a This is a wonderful kitchen and dining room.
It is a wonderful, and they've got cupboard space. And Annie Lhamo says, I've got nothing to put in the cupboard. I said, I'm coming to take all my things and put it in your cupboard because they don't really possess things. So, you know,
Yes. Yeah, now she's managed to use them slowly everywhere.
yeah. So they've got a beautiful kitchen, modern equipment in the kitchen. It's a delight for me to actually see that. Anyway, Nicola, do you want to ask a question? We've got all of you here. We've got Paul, Nicola, and Janine here. There's Janine.
Marianne wants to ask something.
Please, Janine. Go for it.
We're so excited to see you here, Lama. But
Yes.
what I want to ask you is there going to be an official opening of the temple as such?
Oh, yes, yes. I think I asked last time, you will have to provide the party that
We've got it. The food.
15th of February 2024.
15th of February 2020, because the main shrine room will be finished. At this time, there will be, the lamas will be here, there will be puja here, so it will be fully open to public. I said, they're all welcome, and because the kitchen, main dining room is quite big, but still, if it doesn't fit, everybody can come out in the garden. So it is a wonderful place.
Absolutely beautiful. That's amazing. Anyone else want a question quickly before Lama YESHE Rinpoche goes? Anyone want to ask? So there will be that official opening, which will be amazing for all of you to come from Cape Town and everywhere, because I think it'll really be a very special, special opening. And if you saw the Buddha, I mean, the Buddha is this size. You got the Buddha from where? Nepal or Bhutan?
No, from Thailand. Yes, I paid more than 100,000 pounds. It's all gilded with gold plate. And there's a two smaller size, and then there will be 1,008 Buddhas and all the Buddha's text. This temple has more precious object than anything.
None of you actually realize the extent. So some of you might be thinking, well, with all the poverty and everything, why are they doing such an ornate thing? But you see, the Tibetans think differently to the way we do, because the actual putting into the temple and making a place is something that really goes out to enrich the whole community. That's how they see it. We see it maybe a little bit differently, but it's going to be the most exquisite place. And the 1,008 Buddhas are for that. Sorry, Lama.
So I think it is something not many temples have this collections. And it's like a Buddha, essence of Buddha, essence of Dharma, essence teaching, all is there.
Well, we'll all have to draw from it. That's all we can do. Maybe I'll come and do a Zoom session in the temple when it's ready.
Oh, you can do that. Yes, yes.
You know, because it's really, it's amazing. Listen, all these things are really important. Sharon and Ron, you wanted to say something? Please do.
I just want to ask a question.
Yes.
Is it possible that some of the oldies that are referred to is part of it? It's part of a journey, and the journey doesn't end, and this journey hasn't started from now. It started from way back when, but the oldies have got to a stage where perhaps we can come back in a different embodiment, and as our teacher, be Akong Rinpoche, together with Lama YESHE. So it's not just a question of being the older people.
What you're saying. It's very.
The platform is being developed This is the way I'm seeing it.
Of course, we believe this truly. That's why Samyeling Monastery has spent more than 2.5 million pounds here on Akung Labrang. So if we don't have a strong belief, we wouldn't even find the money to do that. But my brother told me something, when you're doing something precious, you never think about resources. You think of future benefit of humanity.
Isn't that an amazing thing? Because all of you know what happened with Holy Owl, how when Lama YESHE got Holy Owl, he didn't have a cent. Okay, really didn't have a cent. And if you saw the whole ecosystem of Holy Owl and how he did it, and tell them how you wanted the statue right in the middle, or that rock right in the middle, they had to move the rock from the ocean or wherever to put it in the middle. And there's nothing that was impossible to do when they built Holy Owl, when he built that beautiful, beautiful place, which all of you should go and visit. It's really worth going to visit.
Well, now there are United Kingdom, everywhere, this saying most beautiful, most satisfying retreat place is Holy Isle. And so a lot of people come in there.
It's beautiful, and all the vegetables and fruits and everything. Like Iga, you should go there from Poland. It's easy for you to get there when you get a chance. And it's so beautiful, and all the fruit and vegetables and everything are grown. And I have complete faith that this temple in Kensington, you should see the gardens, you should see everything. You actually feel like you're going into a different place. It's unbelievable. What did you want to say, Nicola?
I just want to say, hi, Lama YESHE. When we speak about, the Labrang being helpful to the environment, what I was wondering is, what can each of us do at our own home or garden? Some of us are lucky to have gardens. Is there anything we can do to create that same beneficial or healing energy for the environment all around the world?
I think first of all, we have to take responsibility of our own actions. So never wasting any food, even left over. You should never throw anything away. You should never cut or chop up anything unnecessarily. So if you keep on doing individually like this, then it's going to benefit everywhere in the world.
Definitely.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else want to ask? Quickly, make your chance while you go. Go on, Tati, ask. Ask your question.
Oh, hi. I have a completely unrelated question. I was talking to a friend and she asked me, and I thought it was a good question. During when a master passes away, during the Tuktan period, what happens during that period? How does that relate to the Bardos?
Because they don't have a Pado, because they are fully liberated. So my brother passing away was not a nature. He has been murdered. So he has been knifed 30, 40 times all over his body. So it was different.
But he still managed to reduce his size, like going
Yes,
towards
yes.
the rainbow body, and he was absolutely minute, and then they cremated him.
Yes, because the Chinese government doesn't allow us to keep that because they didn't want people to know what is happening. So we have to commit as soon as we manage. In the night, even Chinese.
Just 1 week after he died.
1 week after he died. So
So there wasn't
he was
really
killed in Tindu. So I managed to raise enough funds to take his body to Dharma Lakang in the monastery, and the monks gradually cremated them.
And Tatiana, before he went to his visit, you know, where he got murdered, he fixed everything up, his new office, everything. He sorted everything out and then went. So it's like, you know, the way you die doesn't really matter in a way. You still go once you're liberated in the mind. And that's why it's so
No, because normally he goes there, he takes many things. This time he didn't take a thing, even protection cord, because he was stopped. But then we say, come up, why you didn't protect him? He said he was having protection, but he won't take it.
he wouldn't take the protection. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
He even gave something to Lama Rinpoche and didn't say what it was, and it was his most precious protection.
Remember that. Wow. So he like knew that what was going to happen in his death was going to create a lot of circumstances which would benefit a lot of people in the end. So
Yes.
it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Well, Lama YESHE Rinpoche, it's just wonderful to have you. Does anyone want to ask anything else quick before we lose this beautiful Lama? You're not going to have him very often. Anyone want to ask?
I have one more question regarding intentional birth. How does that go? I was quite curious to know.
You mean birth of a toku? You mean
Yes.
Because he will have a choice of whose parent he want to be, mother he want to be, because they will bring him up in a path of Dharma. So that is, he will have a choice. But then, like, before he died, he said to us, everybody, he should not be recognized by anybody except the Kamapa. So he makes sure nowadays so many lamas trying to recognize, and then Truku doesn't become useful. So it's Kamapa only who will recognize him.
to be recognized by the person you trust the most in the world? You know, that's very important.
Previous Akong Rinpoche was also recognized by the 16th Kamapa.
Amazing. Well, it's amazing, and I really wish all your projects, and this is such good news about this Lama coming. It's really good news for all of us. And thank you so much for joining us, Lama YESHE.
It's my pleasure talking to
Really
you.
a pleasure, and these are your devotees that are here through me to you. Okay, everybody, we're going to do a little bit of teaching. Thank you very much, Lama. Very.
Thank you.
Okay, so Annie Lama, you need Annie Lama, or she could stay a little bit.
I think she can come. Yeah, she can stay here. I
Okay.
go to the room.
Okay, I'll sort it out first.
Yeah, she will have to take me out there.
Okay, let her take you out and then let her come back. We'll be very happy to have her.
We'll be waiting.
Yeah. So while we're waiting,
Now, can I ask you one quick question?
Sure.
I've heard something that's completely new to me. You're speaking about something in Cape Town, Labram. What are we talking about?
oh, the Labram is a building that Lama YESHE has done. It's in the most beautiful environment. And the Labram is, it's like what can I say? Not a center, it's like a place, a really sacred place that is built for the coming Lama. So it's actually built for Akong Rinpoche, and you can ask Annie Lama when she comes back, and it registers all the energy and does all the things in the environment. So there are labrams all over the world that are built for these great masters who come back and everything. And this labram is exquisite as well. I'm actually thinking of going there next week for a week or something like that, to actually go and do retreat there, because I think it's such a beautiful environment, and it has everything in it, and it's got facilities and all of that, but not for big things, because the most important purpose is what it registers. You know, what I draw from both of these places, both Kensington and from the Labram in Cape Town, is that these are places that are going to do work over the next 100 or 1,000 years. And it's not for what we can, in our logical mind, say, why have you built a temple, you know, in an area that's not so savory and anymore? Because when you go in there, you see a difference. And the Labram as well. You can ask Annie Lama about the Labram.
Where is it? Where is it in Cape Town?
It's quite far out. It's about an hour or two. You can ask her. I haven't been there, but it's about an hour or two out of Cape Town. And it will register amazing things. That's why what he's talking about this morning is very sacred and very valuable. And also, the most important lesson of it all is the fact that you cannot look at these things with your logical human mind. You have to look at these things with your real nature of mind, because when these lamas see things, they're seeing it for the next 1,000 years, for the next 100 years, for the next, they're seeing it. I heard something very interesting from him where he said, oh, we've already got a whole lot of young Black people, you know, that we're going to, that this Lama is going to attract. That's absolutely amazing, because having that is so, you know, that's how it's going to change things. Because for me, it's really important in South Africa to really have a lot more Black people into the Dharma, like they've got at DRC. And what happens with me is I have many of them coming in, and they're so excited, and they come and see me, and then they're coming to the groups and everything, and then they fall away. So maybe that's also a little bit of the culture, you know, which is difficult. And Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche and Tulku Urgent Rinpoche, but more Dzongsa, says that maybe the culture, Tibetan culture, is foreign to a lot of people, especially to young people. You know, they see the Vajrayana, they see all of these sort of things, and it's quite a foreign culture to them. And both of them say very clearly, it does not matter if you don't do it with the whole Tibetan culture. It's really important that you do it with your heart and that you adapt it to your culture. Like if I look at Ika, she always does it with her Catholic base, and she just, you know, uses the Dharma in and around her Catholic base to expand it. And I think we're going to have to do that to attract a lot of people with their cultures and their ancestry and everything. You know, I think we're going to have to do that. So I think that that what he's saying is really, really important. But to me today, okay, Annie Lama and I were going to just have a chat on Vajrayana practice and its amazing power for enlightenment. So yesterday she texted me and said she couldn't do it on Monday. She'd do a talk with me on Tuesday. She had to sort Lama YESHE out, but now he said she can come. So this morning I was looking at what should I do? How should I do it? Then I thought, you know what, it's our last session, and let me talk a little bit from the heart on Vajrayana. Annie Lama, before we even get into this, you know, they were asking me about the Labram. Just give your definition, not that Labram, but just give your definition of what you think a Labram is, a registration for a lot of Dharma activity, isn't it?
It's, well, as far as I understand, every incarnate Lama has a Labram. So they'll be in a, well, mostly, I mean, you know, obviously I'm not Tibetan, so I don't really know. But what I've heard, so in Tibet, a monastery will have the monastery, and it has all the things that go on there. And then as part of the same kind of campus or close by, there's the Labram. So for example, when Lama YESHE Rinpoche was taken from his home as a young boy to Akron Rinpoche's monastery, Doma Lakang, he stayed in the Labrang. So he could hear the monks doing what they did sometimes outside, but they weren't in the same place as him. So it's the place within the monastery or associated with the monastery that is just for the tulku. And the Labrang has property or whatever, and that in a way is the property of the tulku, but it's not really. So what the tulku is supposed to do is to maintain it and develop it so that then he hands on something at least as good or better to the next tulku. So it's quite a good system. So then I think Akon Rinpoche did his best to develop a Labrang in the UK, in Samyeling. So there's one building that we started to know as the Labrang, although it had other names as well. And then also there was a place in Spain where, which was separate from the rest of the organization, which was known as the Labrang land. And the idea was that that would have a property on it, you know, a place, a really nice place for him to stay. But then when he passed away, that was already not functional because it turned out that laws of the land didn't allow the house to be built anyway. So there were some obstacles there. And then we don't have a proper Labrang in the UK, but we do have an organization called Akon Labrang. So it does exist in some countries. And I think that the idea is that there's one in Southern Africa or South Africa. And then after Akon Rinpoche passed away, and because Akon Rinpoche had been so deeply associated with South Africa, in fact, I heard from someone who's been around a long time that actually the first time he ever visited South Africa was 1982. So from 1982 until 2024, there's been this deep connection with Southern Africa. And because Akon Rinpoche was the kind of, he was like the troubleshooter or the trailblazer for that. So then it just makes sense for there to be an Akon Labrang in this country. And in a way, in Johannesburg, there has been the kind of a sort of Akon Labrang because somebody who lives in this centre in Kensington has a place of their own within the centre, and part of that is dedicated entirely and solely to Akon Rinpoche. And the only other person who's ever stayed there is Lama YESHE Rinpoche. Nobody else stays there. No other visiting Lama, anybody. So there's been the beginnings of a Labrang in this country, and maybe other centres also is something similar. But certainly I know it's here in Johannesburg. So I think that's partly why there's a temple here now, and why one of the reasons why Lama Rinpoche wanted to build a very beautiful place called the Akon Labrang in this country, because it should be good. And all his life, the second Akon Tulku, the one that we knew, he didn't ever build himself a place appropriate to a place that should invite back tulku after tulku, incarnation after incarnation. And I remember once when we built the place that we have in Samyeling, that was the best part of Samyeling for a while. And I asked him about it and said, is this your dream house? Which was a really stupid question, but anyway, something a bit like that. And he said, no. And he described this wonderful place that he'd love to have, where he said the birds would fly around and there would be trees and how lovely it would be. And I can remember thinking, how are we going to manage to build that in Samyeling? And we didn't ever manage it. And it seemed like it would happen in Spain, but it didn't happen. And now we do have a place in the Western Cape, which is a supremely beautiful part of the world and very pure, rare part of the world. And it's good that we're doing something to really try and anchor that and protect that environment. So maybe the next Akon will be somebody who's very dedicated to that aspect of the Dharma.
None of you, if you listen carefully to what Annie Lama is saying, you can't actually imagine, because even when I look at my little, pretty irrelevant life, and the impact that Akon Rinpoche had on me. I mean, the minute I went, I was right new in Buddhism, and he was doing a refuge ceremony, and Patricia said, come, there's a real live Lama. Okay, I knew nothing about refuge. I knew nothing about anything. And I took refuge with Akon Rinpoche then. And the things that he did for me when I look back after he died, you know, things that I hadn't really thought about. And I was an irrelevant person, you know, but the things that he did to me, for me, he came into my personal shrine room one day and he threw rice all over my shrine room and he said, I'm blessing this shrine room and I want you to have this. And he gave me a curved knife. I mean, what did I know about a curved knife? But subsequent to that, I learned that a curved knife is what Vajrayogini has to cut off the egos of people. I mean, a little thing like that, you know, he was giving it to me well in advance. And when I came to Sammy Ling, absolutely coincidentally, and you know, I said, I really need the Nondro empowerment. Now, he never gave the Nondro empowerment to any individual. He told Rob to bring me there. It was about 10:30 at night, okay? And he gave me personally the entire Nondro empowerment till I was falling asleep. It was late at night. And he was sitting there giving it to me alone, which could have been given to hundreds of people, you know, things like that. When I look back and you realize that what he sees, what he saw in his mind was, he could see what I needed to do in Africa. You know, he could see that. So he really gave me so much. He visited my home, he visited my shrine room, he really gave me so much. And when I used to go and visit him at Sammy Ling, he used to just go into his room and take millions of things out, this and that and the other, and give it to me, you know. And when I look back at all those things, I don't know if you can see the picture behind my head there of Guru Rinpoche. Sorry, it should even be higher, but that had his signature on. And he said to me, this is for you, for your shrine room, and take it. And that picture has been over my head for all times. You know, he could see into the future. He could see what people's potential was. And when you really understand that, you begin to see, when you say a labram, you begin to see what it's all about. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I also stumbled onto a course that he did only once every 30 years or something. I stumbled in on that at Sammy Ling. The first time I visited, I didn't know what he was talking about. But everything he taught, I took home with me. And then I went to people and I said, what does this mean? What does this mean? And then I found out about it, and that's why I had to be there. So all of you must really think about your lives and how you connect. And you've met Lama YESHE Rinpoche today, and Lama YESHE Rinpoche puts himself into me, and you connect with me, so you automatically connect with him. And it's really important. Sorry, but I just wanted to share that because I think it's so relevant to what you're saying about the labram, you know, how individually you'll see in your life, you'll connect. I know you have Tatiana. Tatiana's in the UK. And you know, just the connection, but her connection's in South America with her Lama. So it's very interesting. So Annie Lama, we're so happy to have you. So we haven't got much time. We can do a meditation at the end, but let's talk a little bit about how amazing Vajrayana practice is. And this morning I was getting all my notes because you weren't coming to see what I needed.
Well, you probably still need them. You just talk, it's fine. I'll say it.
Please tell us your feeling, how you came in. When I came in, I was just introduced to Vajrayana and I took to it like a duck to water. For you, tell us, and tomorrow night we'll talk about your ordained versus lay thing, but tell us what Vajrayana meant for you all the years in the monastery.
Well, to be honest, I don't know if I can really say much about that. because I feel it's kind of, you know, above and beyond me. But of course, you know, part of the ordained life is to, you know, part of your job sort of thing is to be in the temple and do what's going on there. So that's, you know, that's one of the benefits, really, is one is just placed there and we have to do it. And so, but to me, I feel like when I see people like you were talking about Akron Rinpoche and his abilities and other people like him, then I feel like that's an expression of Vajrayana practice. And that's, you know, that's its like result. And so it's more a matter of aspiration. And because those of us who connect with people like that, we have the chance to see somebody who's able to set an example of really impeccable activity and to withstand, you know, like Akron Rinpoche, really what he did was overcome one tremendous obstacle after another. I'm sure you can imagine, you in the 1960s, he started thinking about building a monastery. And at that time, this very small, prejudiced, conservative country, even different sorts of Christianity were abhorrent. So to accept Buddhists was just, it's just impossible. So he kept on doing these things that really shouldn't have been possible. And so somehow he had that inner quality, and that you see in your personal story, there are thousands and thousands of them. So if it was just you, it would be remarkable that he was able to reach somebody on that level. But it wasn't just one. Every single person who knew him, and especially those who did their best to become practitioners who were somehow inspired to follow his path, but also lots and lots of others who are not Buddhist or who had a short-term connection which changed their lives or whatever. There are just so many different possibilities. And it really struck me after he'd passed away. And I think Leah Vila from Rock International, she said she went to Tibet and there was this old monk who just sat and cried. And it made it clear to me how there are tens of thousands of people across the world whose lives were touched by that person who, on a physical level, it wasn't like he was like a pop star, you know, so captivatingly beautiful, or that you walked into, I mean, sometimes he was practically invisible. Yeah. He could hide himself so easily. So there was nothing definable in the normal way of looking at things about him. And yet he somehow, with his consistent activity or just carrying on doing one thing after another and giving him permits in the middle of the night and then getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and carry on doing what he did. And I remember once I heard that somebody who'd been to see Situ Rinpoche had said that Situ Rinpoche, I mean, obviously he's supremely humble himself, so you don't really know, but he said for himself, he needed to sometimes stop and do practice. But with Akron Rinpoche, he never needed to stop. He said his mind was always the same. It didn't matter what happened, it didn't change. He didn't need to stop to recharge his batteries. His mind was always stable. And so I think it's very useful for all of us as an example of the benefit of achieving that kind of absolute unmoving stability. And one other little kind of point about that is the previous Akon was called Karma Meyo. And Akon Rinpoche used Skype, you know, the online thing. And his Skype name was Meyo. Meyo. My pronunciation is not very correct, but what it means is unshakable. It's also the name, I think, of either the 7th or the 8th of the Bhumis, you know, the Bodhisattva levels. So I thought that describes him, totally unshakable. And that's what we have to achieve too. So our commitment as practitioners, whatever kind of practitioners, whatever name we put on it, is to start off, you know, at our own pathetic level. So if we consider ourselves to be a worm, then we start being a worm, but we work towards it. You know, we hold that as a goal. And I think that's, you know, the benefit of the Nirmanakaya, that whoever you feel connected to, you can use them as a model of what to aim for, but not to get messed up in your head about thinking that you need to be like that today or tomorrow, but just not give up working towards it.
But you know how many people told me that when they were getting empowerments from Ekon Rinpoche, and I got a lot, they could see him as the deity. You know, they could actually see him as a deity. Some people saw him as Guru Rinpoche. He was crazy for Guru Rinpoche. That's why he gave me that picture initialed at the back. And I put it into a thing so you could still see the signature on the back. But the thing is, he was the deities in practice. And that is what was so amazing about him, because I know that this Ekon Rinpoche asked to be born so that he could do formal practice for a number of years. That's obviously, I mean, Lama YESHE told me that. That's obviously why they have not disturbed him yet or really found out about him, because he wanted to do practice. And talking about Taisitu Rinpoche, I once asked him, because I had many hours with him, you know, when I was in India, and I once asked him, why do you do practice? I said, you already know it. And he said, because I got sick as a little boy. He said, and my mind is not always in clarity. And he said, I need to do practice in order to make my mind absolutely clear. He said, so I'm always doing retreats with practice, which is so interesting, because I can assure you, he's way beyond practice. He already is the practice. But just to say today, you know, what I wanted to say when I thought, oh, well, I better do it by myself, is that for all of you, it's so important to actually know the three kinds of visions or perceptions. The first one, the impure illusory perception or vision, the impure illusory perception. And that's the way we look at life, from our karma, from our backgrounds, from our imprints, from everything. We can't see the purity. And the Buddha said to Shariputra, it's not my fault. If you can't see the purity, it's your own fault because you haven't awakened. So that first level is impure illusory, which is what most of us are seeing. The second level is called pure illusory vision. Pure illusory vision. And pure illusory vision is where the Vajrayana comes in. Because the pure illusion, it's still illusory. Because you take the impure vision and you start training yourself. It's so important to train yourself in the pure illusory vision, but it's still illusory. Because the deity is not outside, it's inside. And so that's what the Vajrayana is for. We can't train in pure illusory vision unless we do deity practice. But deity practice is internal, not external. And then the third vision or the third perception is called the Buddha vision, which is the awakened vision as it is. So all I wanted to say, and maybe Annie Lama can go further with it, all I wanted to say was that they're so lucky that in the monastery, you have to get up and go. And when you live in a center, you have to get up and go and do the practice. I always looked at you doing Tara practice. And I remember I once said to you right in the beginning, Annie Lama, how do I say the mantra? And you said, just whisper it so your collar can hear it. I've never forgotten that answer. You told me, you know. And so to get to pure illusory vision, you have to use the mantra. And James Lowe says the mantra is the energy. He said it's no good buying tea, lemon, all of those kind of things, and a kettle to make your tea, milk, all the things you want, and a kettle without switching on the switch of the kettle, because then you can't have tea. He said, and the mantra recitation is switching on the kettle. Gives you the energy to become the deity, to then dissolve back into your essence. So when you understand that, none of you will ever say to me, I don't want to do any deity practice. It's too cultural. I don't understand it. It's like, you know, I just want you to know that the only way one can train in pure illusory vision until you get to as it is, like at Ekon Rinpoche, is to the Vajrayana practice, which was secret. And when the Buddha was there, it was secret. And then the Buddha said, but I'll send another one who was Guru Rinpoche later to give it to you properly. And now Zongsa says, it's out in the open. It should be private. It should be secret. And it's out in the open. So let's use it. Because it's going to go back it's going to go back in the closet soon where you have to have a Lama to teach you. So maybe you want to comment on that, Annie Lama.
Well, yeah, people say different things about that, about the fact that it's open. And also, I think that what you say is probably correct. I mean, when I say probably, I mean, I don't think I'm qualified to judge whether it's correct or not. Yeah. But I think also that one of the most important things is to do the right practice at the right time. And also they always say about Vajrayana practice, like if you look at what we call the Mundro, like that's what goes before. It's the beginning practice. Many people practice that for their whole life. So, and always the emphasis is that if the preparation is good, then the practice goes well. And if the preparation isn't sufficient or isn't correct, then the practice won't be effective. So I feel that's my kind of level of understanding. The preparation really, really is important, and it's a big deal. It takes a long time. And I think somebody like Lama YESHE Rinpoche, you know, he always said, oh, I was so bad and I did all these terrible things. And then I just had to lock myself up and retreat, or I wouldn't be a good monk, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And actually, if you analyze the situation, somehow he was not impure. So when he went to retreat, he was really able to use the time. And most people are not able to use time like that. So that means not yet enough preparation or not yet enough merit, or however you like to put it. So that stage of so-called preparation is really, really important and really significant. And I don't think anyone should feel upset or like there's no possibility of progressing if they don't feel that attracted to Vajrayana practice, because it's very specific and it's also quite difficult to use correctly. But there's lots of other stuff that we can do that will lead to it. So just keeping an open mind and making sure that we do what's good for us at our own speed. And for that, one of the things that's emphasized in Vajrayana practice is the reliance on a good teacher, a skillful teacher. And I think that also applies to every level. Have somebody who cares about you and who is skillful enough and understanding enough to be able to advise you correctly on what's good for you right now. So that, I mean, that's my general take on it.
Yeah, no, I think what you're saying is really important. And I think that the other things like the Guru Yoga, we can talk about that tomorrow night, you know, like that's a very, very good thing. But I know from the experience of all the people that are around me, okay, that lots of people never finished their Nondra. They all started off and they never finished the preliminary practices, which we can talk about again tomorrow. And it is difficult when you haven't done it, because, you know, I think that Kalu Rinpoche's beautiful teaching of the tea in the teacup was such a beautiful thing, because he said the saucer, the teacup and the tea, he said the saucer was the Hinayana, the renunciation, the Nondra, you know, all of those things. It was a base on which you could do practice. He then said the cup was the Mahayana, okay, and the cup was the the cup was the Mahayana. Sorry, what's wrong? Oh, okay, let's get.
Rinpoche's calling, so I have to go for a second, but I'll be back.
Okay, sorry. The cup is the Mahayana, which is the base of actually helping people and being of great service, the cup. And the tea inside the cup and saucer is the Vajrayana, which is the transformation. And for most of you, I mean, that's when you transform, because Vajrayana doesn't care what emotions you have. In fact, the worse your emotions, the more potential for you being able to free yourself. And so, and then Vajrayana right at the top goes into the Ati Yoga or the Dzogchen, which is then self-liberation. So you don't even have to transform your emotions. You just let them come up and let them dissolve, which we've talked a lot about this year. So it's really, really important when you look at the Vajrayana being the tea and being the thing that is really, that we are so blessed to have in this life. But as Annie Lama said, if it really doesn't appeal to you and it really isn't the kind of thing you like to do, well, obviously you're not going to do it. But I think that when people do it, it really does transform everything. And when you look at it, you've got the three aspects of your Vajrayana. You've got creation, you've got completion, and in between, you've got mantra recitation. And when you look at those, Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche says all the time, you've got
Mel, you've frozen. Hello.
burn.
Mel, you actually froze for a little bit. Sorry.
No,
I'm just
on
trying.
again. Okay.
You're on again.
I don't know why. I can't think why. But anyway. Okay, so sorry, what was I in the middle of saying? I'm concentrating on that. So so there you are, and I froze in the meantime. So I'm just telling them that if they look at Vajrayana practice and they look at the tea in the teacup, it's really something very, very, very special. And I was telling you about the three aspects. You start with the essence, you then go, which is actually the completion. That's what Tulku Urgyen says. You go on to the creation of the deity, which is your internal deity, and then the mantra recitation as you're creating the deity, and then back into the essence. Now that's all about birth and death, which is in everything, even at night. We go to sleep and we die in a way, and then we wake up again. With everything in your life, with your dreams, with your life, with your children, you have your children, you're involved with them, they grow up and they all disperse. We're looking at creation and completion and birth and death in these amazing teachings. And if you apply them to your life, it's really fantastic. And I love having Annie Lama's input, because you don't realize, even if you haven't been studying hard lately, you don't realize that your relationship to the lamas is what makes you a cut above all of us, because you have that input all the time. Truly you do. You don't
Well,
realize what
if you look at things in terms of life after life, it's like we all have some good karma and some not so good karma. So the good karma manifests in whatever way. And so I feel like from that point of view, I'm using up a lot of good karma right now. And the requirement really for me and for everybody is whatever good conditions come our way, we absolutely have to use them, because we never know how long they're going to last. And also we don't know what's stored for us in the future. So we have to, like Ron was saying something about this, I think, it's like we want to connect again and again and again, and in better and better connections, and able to help more and more people so that it continues. In fact, I remember once in Khenpo Sotam Gyaltsen Rinpoche came to Samueling a few times, and he said, at the end, he said this lovely, beautiful prayer, may we meet again and again and again, life after life after life, all the different pure lives. So hopefully that's the best best possible result is that we all keep on meeting and we all keep on doing better and better. And one time somebody's sitting in, you know, our seats, and the next time somebody else is, and we're just all part of that group, helping each other whatever way we can.
Absolutely. And it's so important that we take the opportunities, you know, that when I taught all of you about Guru Rinpoche's prophecies, he said, this will not be freely available later on, you know, because the earth's going through that we're going through a degenerative stage. So it won't be available for us. So for me, even if you took this morning's, we did Guru Rinpoche Puja, the shortened version. We do it with with Lama Sondru. We do it with Lama Sondru. And when we were doing it, if you go, ask Bern if you haven't got it, and you just read the English of what Guru Rinpoche is saying there, you'll see all the teaching in it. It's absolutely amazing. Even if you don't want to do it, if you just read the English, what is actually there, it starts to change your perception, your vision, your everything. And we can't go on with this karmic vision. I've been screaming at them, Annie Lama, for a year, you know, that's just one tiny aspect of what we know. We've got to go to a more pure, even illusory vision, but that's what the Pure Lands are about. That's what the mandala is about. And I think that beautiful, prayer that Tulku Urchin, in Tulku Urchin Rinpoche's book, he says, this Emma, this excellent body adorned with the 8 freedoms and the 10 riches, is extremely difficult to find. Now, having fully obtained it, I will continually engage in the practice of the great secret, the profound development and completion, and so make my life meaningful. Such a beautiful prayer. How do we make our lives meaningful? That's my question.
Is that to everybody?
No, to you mainly, but how do we make our lives meaningful? Because I've had to make it within the karma of many other activities. You know, it's very difficult to do it. But if you've got that absolute determination, then, you know, you do go on that journey and you use whatever we've got. So I'm asking you that question. How do we make our lives meaningful?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I agree with you. But we all have different circumstances, so we all find our different ways. And then what I was saying before really was the point about it being over a long period of time. So it's not just this life. So now we have to do our best to create the conditions that will make things better in the next life and the next life and the next life. And to do that, we have to understand how karma, cause and effect works, and then use it. And if we can do that successfully, then we'll be more help to others in the future, and we'll be able to make better conditions for ourselves in the future. And I think what that amounts to is not necessarily getting richer and richer every life or any one particular thing, but just through, you know, being exposed to people who seem to have very good karma and able to help a lot of people, then it seems to be purity of mind, non-judgmental, this equanimity, and able to just regard every human being in exactly the same way, so that you're always prepared to help anybody, however they are manifesting at that point. And that, I think that's in a way, for me, the measure of how somebody's practice is going. But yes.
No, I agree with you absolutely, completely. What did you two want to say, Ron and Sharon?
Well, arising out of this, there's the statement that meditation comes from practice. Teaching comes from understanding. So It depends on the person's capability at that point in time, because it don't fix it. So in other words, I can make a statement. This is what I've been doing now. I give a point of view and I say, this is how I feel now. And that now is very important, because 10 minutes later, I can change my mind because something fresh has come in. So this is it now. That statement then is a part of the past. It's come, it's gone. So it's also teaching me not to be bound by anything that happens, which then is a practice of impermanence, which is the four troubles. And then the teaching comes in, not from what you remember of something, but what you understand and you're experiencing at this point in time. And there's nothing else. Nothing else. If anything else comes in, then you are bound to samsara, you're bound to the ego. But the teaching then, as I understand it, it's not my function to try and convince the world that this and this is this or whatever. It's not my function to do anything other than just move along what presents itself, and everything that happens is acceptance. That's what it's
Listen, I agree with you. And the thing is that maybe in my life, people come to me all the time asking me how they can fix things and how they can do things and how they can practice and how they can bring Buddhism into their lives. I must get about 10, 12, texts every day from people. And my answer, it's not the same to each person, but my answer is, you've got to see your life differently. As soon as you can see your life differently, not from your karmic perception, not from your conditioning, but train your mind to see it differently, then you are there. As James Lowe says, he uses the word ecstasy, and he says it comes from the Latin word ecstasis. And ecstasis means a stepping out of yourself. When you step out of yourself and you become the deity, or you become something else, you can see that that's a temporary identity. And I'm saying this over and over. It's a temporary identity, and just don't hang on to it. Just move past it all the time. And I think that's what we're all doing. Stepping out of yourself. When you even read the English, you're stepping out of yourself into, I want to be Tara. I used to say, Tara, Tara, help me, help me, help me. Now I go, what would Tara say? Because it's inside now. Tara's in me. It's not external anymore. So let's just do a tiny little meditation. I know time is up, but we must end with a tiny meditation. And just to say to everybody that during these holidays, I'm going to really take at least a 6-week break now. I need it. And just to say to all of you that all the YouTubes are there. You can go to any subject you missed, and really go and look at things. Take your time to look at things, because it's really important to bring yourself next year. Maybe we'll do the golden letters next year, which will be really special for us to actually study. But let's just do 2-minute meditation, everybody, if that's okay any longer. So just bring yourselves together now, right in the here and now. How beauteous. Nothing to do, nothing to say. Just breathing in to the beautiful blue spaciousness of your nature of mind, and knowing that the spaciousness of your nature of mind can fit anything, even the garbage that you've done, even the negative emotions, even the pain, even the suffering, even the fears. As you breathe into that beautiful blue nature of mind, so exquisite, you expand yourself, you expand your mind. And then when you breathe out all the garbage, the feelings, the hardships, the changes, the emotion, the thoughts, absolutely everything you've been holding on to in 2024. The pain of countries, the wars, the feeling of great compassion. You just breathe it all out. And you're sitting in that beautiful, spacious, true nature of mind. It's blue, deep blue in color. I know that it is, and feel it in your being. And as you breathe out, let all of these balloons on your fingertips just go into the nature of mind. Come to this moment in time where we've all been studying hard, learning, coming together for a whole year, and a lot of devotion for which I really thank you. And next year, we look forward to a fresh, clean year where each day we take a little step as you're going through something difficult with a child, with a pain, with illness, with all the things we have to go through, with moves, with changes. As we're going through all of that, we just allow it to be. We step out of ourselves for a moment into that beautiful nature of mind, which already knows all the outcomes. It's known for eons of time. Don't try and work it out. Just give it the space of your true nature, and whatever you go through in this holiday period, just come back and say to yourself, what would the spacious mind, the real mind, the true nature, let me allow it to do whatever it is that I need to do, and feel absolutely a letting go, not only a letting go, but a letting be right now. So let's dedicate, and maybe we can convince Annie Lhamo to stay for 5 minutes afterwards and answer some of your questions, but you'll see her again tomorrow. Yay.
Ellen, could I say something quickly?
Yeah.
So we were talking before. So basically, I think it's really nice, something I learned from my teacher, and I think it correlates with the Four Noble Truths. One thing is we can use our suffering as ground for compassion. The second thing is we can use our life as the path. So everything we do from waking up in the morning, we can use as a ground for practice. And the third thing is that is crucial is the pure motivation in the beginning, the middle, at the end, which is relative bodhicitta. And I think they work, these things. I think it's nice if you think about it, you can see the effect.
Beautiful, Tati, beautiful and lovely. And you must see her, Annie Lhamo. You should see her room. She's in the UK. She's got every Buddha, every place. Every time you text her, she sends you another little, what they're called, whatever they're called, or someone bowing to you, whatever you call them. You know, she lives in the Dharma completely and totally. Beautiful, thank you. So let's dedicate, everybody. Let's dedicate our whole year of all the teaching, of all the practice, of what Annie Lhamo and YESHE Rinpoche could give us. And let's really, really pray that all beings who are suffering can move out of themselves into their beautiful nature of mind and liberate all things. And Annie Lhamo, we did a different translation of Sonam. So this is the translation that Fiona did. Through this merit, may all beings attain omniscience. May all obscurations fall away from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of samsara, may all beings be freed. Sonam die tamche zipane topne nebe dranam pamshene jegana chi balap dropaye sipe sole doa dro warsho.